What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today this is a very special mock draft, not only because it's the first one of the season with trades, but also it's the first one since reaching 5,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for being with me on this journey. Just about 2 years ago, well actually one day from now, 2 years ago, I hit 100 subs for the first time. So it's kind of crazy that we've come this far. It's been absolutely awesome, and I have you guys to thank for it because you guys are awesome. Again, there's been the down times because the off season is brutal, but you guys make it worth it, putting in all the time, all the effort to make sure I can make good stuff for you like this. So of course, if you guys are new, join the community now. Hop on the hype train before it gets rolling too fast, because we're going to try to be shooting for millions. I don't care. I do not care. The sky is the limit. We're going to go for it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Of course, I'm willing to take criticism because that is part of the game. I want to make good content for you guys. Of course, don't be a dick about it. That's just going to be a new phrase of the channel because, again, good criticism is always welcome, but kind of just doing it to be a douche, not exactly great. So this draft order is by Tankathon. Again, it's pretty much just based off a win percentage. So don't come at me for the draft order. I wanted to have it be tradable because of the fact that I don't want to potentially skew it by putting certain teams higher than others. So this is the way it's going to be. Don't get mad at the draft order. I wasn't the one who made it. Okay, so let's get right into it. Pick number 1, the Carolina Panthers are on the board. And obviously, quarterback's going to be the way they go. It's a new regime coming in. There's a bunch of sloppy second quarterbacks on the team. No disrespect, but, obviously we know that they're not franchise-level quarterbacks, which is unfortunate. I was hoping Baker could have hit his stride. But if you are sitting here, it's an obvious top 2 is CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. I was starting to trick myself into the Will Levis hype train to say that he could be the first quarterback. There's rumors of it, but of course, not the NFL teams aren't even fully evaluating these guys yet, so I don't even know what those rumors are actually coming from. Regardless, you look at Bryce Young, you look at CJ Stroud, they are in their own class. I think Bryce Young, talent-wise, is much better than CJ. Again, that's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I think Bryce Young makes a lot more of a lot less than CJ. Of course, we haven't had that chance to see CJ hit his stride like that. Bryce Young came back just 1.5 weeks after hurting his AC, and technically 2.5 because he started playing through a game with an AC injury. Regardless, Bryce Young is absolutely phenomenal. To me, he's still the QB1 of this class. You see some of these throws and they're ridiculous. He's a great manager of the ball. He's a good field manager, game manager. That's what I was trying to say. But Bryce Young, I think his talent level is just on another level. I'm telling you, it's just different. And I like CJ. I do. He's number 13 on my board. I'm not trying to shit on CJ. I'm just trying to show you guys where I think the gap is. Again, CJ is playing with the top-tier offensive line, top-tier running game, top-tier receiving group. The projection isn't nearly as clear as Bryce is. And again, you have an offense that can be very well built for very mobile quarterbacks. You have a good running game. You have a good receiving core. And I think the offensive line is developing. Bryce Young, right now, has wide receivers that drop balls to left, right, and center. He also has a running game that, Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud. But you know what? We're not going to shit on the running game, Bama. But regardless, the offensive line, not that good. I think Bryce Young's a better day one fit. And we're going to go with it still. I know it's going to piss off my CJ Stroud fans, so bear with me. But Bryce Young is the guy. I'm going to totally go with Bryce Young here. He's a great quarterback. And again, the size and the AC certainly do concern me. But, I do think that Bryce Young's a better fit. And I think his ceiling with Christian McCaffrey, again, if he gets traded, this could totally change. It really depends on who comes in. But at this moment, I think Bryce Young is the best to work with the tools that the Panthers have to offer him. Pick number 2. This is an obvious one. If you're sitting here, never mind, it's not so obvious. Because Will Anderson, obviously, he's up there. He's Myles Murphy and Will Anderson. Don't try to hate on Myles Murphy now. Myles Murphy's my number 1 player. This guy is he's an all-around freak. Will Anderson is too. They're right there. They're at the top. They're the creme de la creme. Now, Jalen Carter is different, though. Because, again, you have Chandler Jones and you have Max Crosby. I don't think getting another supreme edge rusher is going to impact your team the way, a one-of-one style defensive interior could. Now, I am very heavily on the I'm not going to be going defensive interior early type train until they're unique. Because when you have somebody who's a unicorn, they're either going to be complete busts because they don't work in your system, they don't work in the NFL, or they're going to be god tier. And I'm willing to take that chance. If I'm sitting here at number 2 overall, which I don't think they will be, I think their team's very talented, I'm going to take the shot on the unicorn. I'm like, we see edge rushers come out every year, and they're not maybe as good as these guys, but they are really damn good. We don't see guys like Jalen Carter come out every year. Jordan Davis had a crazy hype boost last year because he tested out of his mind at the combine. So, to me, I'm going Jalen Carter here. Could we trade down 100%? And I think there is a world where we should probably do that. This actually might be one of those situations. I forgot that we're doing trades. By the way, guys, if you guys don't know, this is all live. So, we're going to see. So, the Houston Texans are willing to offer right now. And I'm just curious because I know the Texans need quite a few things. But if we could somehow, this trade will not be accepted. Gotta love that. But if we can somehow find a way to be able to get up to pick 2, and I'm trying to remember the pick values for each one. Like, obviously, there's no fucking way. So, this trade is lopsided. Okay, so my bad. So we're trying to trade with the Texans here. So if we are offering, so it's a 2 for a 4. This trade will definitely be accepted. So I have no idea how the PFF mock draft simulator works, but the 4 for the 2 is certainly something that, like, you should not need much more than a second round pick to move up. Just going to be honest here. You shouldn't. Thinking about the point value system, it's probably 1,000 point difference, which is it's roughly a first round pick. So you do have the ability to do that. So I'm going to force that trade. I think that's perfectly fine. A first, a second, and next year third to be able to move up a couple spots. Like, genuinely, I think that's a good value, and we're not really screwing up this draft too much. Regardless, this is going to be Will Anderson. If you're sitting there, if you want to jump the Lions, you might want to go quarterback, and I do respect that. But honestly, oh, man, that's going to suck, isn't it? I mean, for me, I'm dying right now because you have to move up to 2. If you're the Texans, you have to move up. You're either going CJ Stroud or Will Anderson. But honestly, we're going to go CJ. Because I have a weird feeling the Lions, if they're sitting there at 3, they're going quarterback unless they're sitting at this position. And if I'm sitting there, I don't know who's going to be across from... Well, I do know, but I'm not confident in who's across from Aiden Hutchinson. And Jalen Carter's a stud, but I also know in the second round I can pick up somebody who's equally as talented. And this team is not secure on those edge groups. So again, I'd rather take another edge that I think is going to absolutely boom than try to take a shot on a defensive interior right now. Because again, it's not like you have Max Crosby as well as Chandler Jones. You have Aiden Hutchinson and then, Aquara, which is not the future. Or you can talk about Josh Paschal, who can also play inside. There's a lot of different stuff you could do, but Will Anderson's the best of the best. I'm going Jalen Carter here. Again, we traded back. We got an extra second round pick, which we lost our first and second last year. So glad to see that we can get Jalen Carter here. Pick number 5. The Houston Texans are back on the board. Again, you got CJ Stroud. You have your quarterback of the future. Now you can continue building through the trenches. I think the best thing you can do now is Myles Murphy. Again, he is just an absolute freak. He's amazing in the run game. You see him. His intellect is off the charts. And when you watch him play, he's in the backfield. And granted, he bit down on an RPO and let Jordan Travis score a touchdown. So let's just understand he's not perfect. Hence why he's not everybody's number 1 player. But you'll see when he penetrates the backfield, maybe on the backside, he will actually continue to pursue down the field, even if it's not going his way. And a lot of times that leads to him tackling a guy 15 yards downfield because he stayed alive in the play. And a lot of other players didn't do as well. So want to give Myles Murphy a shout out right there because he's absolutely incredible. So the Eagles at number 6. I've been a big proponent of this guy. And I'm going to put my foot down. This guy, when he tests out, when people watch all the tape, this guy's going to soar up draft boards. His name, and I've been saying this a lot, is Joey Porter. And he's about 6'3". He's about 200 pounds. The guy has long-ass arms. He is sticky in coverage, amazing field awareness, and the best thing, he is incredible versus the run. He can go head to head versus Tank Bigsby And he's willing to, one, get trucked, but two, he's able to take him down. That is incredible. To me, Joey Porter is the best corner in the draft, and I'm going to stick my name on that. Joey Porter is going to be a great replacement for Bradbury because, again, I don't know how many more times you're going to get lucky with a top-tier corner that you can pay pretty much nothing in free agency. Steelers here at pick number 7. So I think that corner definitely should be a primary concern. Obviously, offensive line is in that realm as well. Again, we have all the tackles on the board, and if you guys know me, I am a big fan of taking a shit ton of tackles. Now, we could trade back here. There is Will Levis on the board, but, I mean, the only team I could see moving up is maybe Seattle. But if I'm going to be honest here, I mean, I could see maybe the Bears saying, hey, we'll move back. I don't care. We need more players more than anything. So we'd be willing to move back. So if I'm sitting here and I'm the Steelers, I don't think the hype is necessarily there because we might be losing. Technically, you could lose one tackle here. Hell, we could even lose a tackle here. It's a necessity to go after one. Again, corner is a primary concern as well, but this cornerback class might be the deepest that we have seen in a long time. I legitimately have, 10 corners worth the day 2 grade, or like day 2 or 1 grade. It's ridiculous. So regardless, I think going after a tackle is probably the best thing you can do. To me, it's down to Broderick Jones as well as Javon Foster here. And since the Steelers really like being able to be mobile, Kenny is really good in the role. So when he's good on the run, when you can actually have a fun offense, I'm going with in my opinion, the best tackle in the class. Javon's not there yet, but you can so see all the foundation. I don't look like it, but I played offensive line for 7 years. This guy is incredible. His footwork's improved. His hand technique improved. He is a god-tier athlete as well. We're going to see him testing probably the 9.9s in the RAS score. This guy is just absolutely crazy. He uses his length fully. He's great in the run game. I said, hey, I want to see this guy in the pass pro improve, and he locked down versus Georgia. He has some reps, of course, that are a little bit concerning. But again, you see teams in the NFL that can develop offensive line talent. This guy doesn't need much more development, so I don't think that the learning curve is going to be too crazy for the Steelers to not get him to that peak. Pick number 8, the Cardinals. My God, if you guys do not fumble the ball, and then again, I see so much potential with this offense that I am not dying to try to improve it right now. I'm not. I think that going after the defense is the number one thing you can do. If you continue locking down on defense, that's going to be the best case scenario for you. And I do think these corners are just top tier. Again, I am scared shitless of what your corners are going to be. I don't think paying Trayvon Mullen is going to be the best use of $15 million a year. So going after a top tier corner like Keely Ringo, Garrett Williams, Emmanuel Forbes is probably going to be taken sometime soon. That is a necessity. And again, you could trade back and get one of these guys later. This could be a spot, but I personally would not want to trade with an in-division rival. I don't really think any of these other teams are necessarily looking for Will Levis right now. God forbid the Packers could do something stupid, but let's hope that they don't. They usually do in the first. Regardless, I think you can go after either of these guys and be happy. I'm going to go Keely Ringo. He's not the flashiest guy in the world, but man, he is locked down, and he's really good in the press, really good against the run. He's just a guy that you know is going to hit, so I'm going to go Keely Ringo right there. Pick number 9, you have the Jaguars, and at this point, wide receiver definitely should be a primary position to target, and unfortunately, Jordan Addison, if I'm not mistaken, he had some nasty ankle injury this past week, which sucks. And again, when you have someone of that stature, of that size, you just pray to God you don't see stuff like that happen. And Jordan Addison is very mobile dependent, let's just put it that way. To me, Quentin Johnston is just top tier. He's become my number 1 wide receiver. He's an X build, but the thing is, he moves so fluidly. He's improved in his route running. He's improved after the catch as well. And we already know he has arguably the strongest hands in the class next to Xavier Hutchinson, who, of course, randomly drops one of the easiest passes. I have no idea what the hell happened there against Texas. But Quentin Johnston's going to be my guy. Again, you could trade back and get somebody else, but when you have the potential chance to get someone who's low 4.4s, he's going to be 6'4", a true X wide receiver. Think of a DeAndre Hopkins type. That is going to be what you're going to be trying to target there at pick 9, and that's exactly what you need to get. If you trade back, that guy's going to be going to Chicago, and you have no chance of getting him. So the Bears, there's a lot that y'all need to change. I'm serious. And I know this pisses off a lot of people when I say, hey, if you cannot get a good player at your spot for offense, it's fine going defense and filling the rest in free agency. Again, free agency exists. Do not reach in the draft because that just ends up having players who are just not good enough to start in the first place. Regardless. So when you do look at the board right now, I do think Chicago could be looking at offensive line. There's some really good tackles here. Again, you can make a very good argument that wide receiver is a very prime position to target. However, with Jordan Addison being injured, also him not being that tall, I'm not very comfortable taking him here at number 10. But also, Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's not even the number 2 wide receiver on his own team. And again, that could be because Marvin Harrison is top tier. He might not be the 3rd best. Ibuka looks like a stud. Fleming looks like a stud. So, to me, I'm a little bit worried that Jackson Smith and Jigba is not going to be the guy that the Bears need. And we saw Allen Robinson. He looked pedestrian with the Bears, with Justin Fields. So, to me, I'm not exactly sure if this is the best route. To me, I would continue to try to fill that in free agency or in the second round. Again, there's a lot of really good receivers in this class. So, for me, at this point, I kind of want to look at other options. We could, of course, return to it. Again, this is live. So, edge rusher, I do see some really good guys on the board. And next to Travis Gibson, you have Robert Quinn, who's 32, 33 years old. You need to be able to at least fill something in terms of having a future at edge rusher. Again, Travis Gibson looks great. But to me, when I'm at this pick, I know this is going to piss a lot of people off. So, just trust me, I know. It's down to offensive tackle as well as Jared Verse. And Jared Verse is a monster. But I'm trying to think ahead. The Bears have this pick here. We very well might have some really good edge rushers like BJ Ojulari on the board. So, I'll respect it. We're going offensive line here. It's Peter Skoronski or Broderick Jones. Again, you can go Anton Harrison here as well, Paris Johnson. You name them. I'm going to go with Broderick Jones because, again, that blindside tackle is pretty damn key. And obviously, Broderick's been dealing with Stetson, who is a very mobile quarterback himself. So I think that it's not going to be a very large transition for him. Pick number 11, Washington's on the board. And honestly, I kind of want to go Will Levis here and just say screw it to the Seattle Seahawks. But after watching him this past week, he definitely still has a lot more room to grow. He does. And I know he came back from, I believe a finger injury, so finger and ankle, so I understand that his play was not up to par this week. But I can't be, basing everything I ever love about him off of one game. And that was pretty much the Ole Miss game. That was, because I've been a big doubter of Will Levis, but I watched that Ole Miss game and was like, Jesus, this guy's picking it up. And, of course, I watched all of his other games, but that one I was like, okay, he's trending up. Offensive line is still a concern for this team. You see it. Sack after sack after sack. Again, versus the Eagles, I think it was 6 sacks in the first half. That is a legitimate position to target. And someone like Peter Skoronski could be a very good addition to this team. Now, I personally would like to also go corner because you have studs on the board. And I think this defense needs to be the identity. I really do. You have Sam Howell. I would want to try to develop that. So it's down to offensive line and corner. And to me, you can get a good offensive lineman in the second round. Wow, that was tough. But I don't think you get someone of Garrett Williams' caliber. And I think that he is just really of that upper echelon. He's top 10 on my big board. You have to go with it. The Seattle Seahawks sitting here. Now, this is something that I've talked about to a lot of people. And it's like, do they even need a quarterback this draft? Do they really? And the more I think about it, it's when you have a second first-round pick, it's you kind of have house money, right? You can just sit back and say, hey, honestly, we upgraded from Russell Wilson's play right now anyway. This is just for us to take a shot to make our franchise even better. And Anthony Richardson has a much higher ceiling than Will Levis, in my opinion, just because of the fact he's younger, he's more raw, we haven't seen as much of him. And I would love to go Anthony Richardson, but the fact is, the NFL loves Will Levis. You see some of these crazy plays that Will makes, and you just know that in the right situation, with the right amount of time, he's going to hit. So, I think it's worth taking a shot on Will Levis. I know, I've been, that's the thing. If you guys have been following, my opinion, Will Levis has been kind of oscillating between, good, bad, ugly, great, yada, yada. And, that just shows you guys, I do not care about being right. I just want to be able to give you guys the most accurate opinion possible. So, I don't really care about arrogance in that aspect. I want to just be able to give you guys the facts that you need. Pick 13, we have the Falcons on the board. And I'm surprised to see the Falcons here. I'm going to be honest. And do we have Jared Verse still on the board? We do. I think continuing to develop the edge presence, top tier. Top tier priority. And again, he's not even listed in here because PFF just naturally does not give a rat's ass about the people who actually use their mock draft simulator, which sucks. And I know this is one with trades, but Jared Verse is a top 10 player in this class easily. He's an absolute freak. And he's going to blow up. He's going to blow up. I can guarantee you. He's just going to go insane in the NFL if he stays healthy. That's the only reason he's here. That's why I didn't draft him to the Bears, which I thought about it. That's why I didn't potentially draft him right here to the Cardinals or to the Steelers or to the Eagles, because injuries are a legit concern. So it's not Iabi. And also the other Michigan edge rusher, it looks like Mike Morris, I believe is his name. He looks even better than Iabi. So I'm really just hoping PFF gets their stuff together. Pick number 14. Seahawks are sitting here. And again, there's some really good players on the board. You got Jack Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, Xavier Hutchinson's on the board. You have some really good edge rushers. You have some really good linebackers, really good corners. Like you already have one in Tariq Woolen, who I had a second round grade on. When certain other people who have significantly more subscribers, who I don't do videos with often, so I love Broshmo, I'm not calling him out, but I got called out live for having him as a second when he was listed like on their board as a late fifth, F that. So just saying, I gotta show some love for Tariq, and I gotta say, sometimes even with people you respect, sometimes your opinion is right. And that's why I like to listen to your opinions, because I am not always right. But I think that this team wants to develop a heavy run game, because you know that Kenneth Walker is a big investment, Will Levis is a big investment, and you cannot have weaklings on the inside. So to me, I think you should have to go after offensive line here. And I know the Bengals are going to be going after one, so I cannot trade back in this situation. Andrew Voorhees is a top-tier talent. Osiris Torrance is a top-tier talent. To me, you could go either way. Osiris is going to be the more nasty blocker, but Andrew Voorhees is somebody who I trust like every single down. I have no doubts in my mind that Voorhees is going to do great. He was my number one offensive lineman. And to me, I think I'll still stick with that. Granted, you could just look at it versus like left guard versus right guard. I think Voorhees has versatility over Osiris Torrance. He was supposed to even play tackle. So I do like that level of flexibility over Osiris Torrance, who's pretty much only played right guard, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, pick 15. To me, we're going back to the well here. We're going Osiris Torrance. So if you guys really wanted Osiris for pick 14, then go Andrew Voorhees for this one. It does not matter. And again, per PFF, you do not have them listed in the mock draft simulator. Really annoying. And people ask me, Alex, why do you use this mock draft simulator? You have a custom draft order, and then you can also, it also is pretty professional, and it also looks nice. So pick 16, we have the Patriots. And again, Bailey Zappe's looking pretty damn good for some reason. Don't know why. But to me, he was my QB5 over Desmond Ridder. So just got to put that out there. Regardless, you have Jack Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison here. I think that's going to be your best return on your investment, because somehow Bill continues to churn out late-round corners into top-tier talents. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. It's a little sketchy, but you know what? We love Bill for that, right? So I'm looking at Jordan Addison, Jack Smith-Njigba. And obviously Jordan has his injury concerns. Jack Smith-Njigba had a concussion, so, you could say injury concerns. It's a casual football thing. It's head trauma. But again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to take the ceiling. It's pick 16. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. This is one of those spots where you can just take guys who you really like. Jordan Addison, without that ankle injury, is a top 10 player. Again, I say that about a lot of people, but the fact is, this is actually me quoting off my own big board. So I know who's actually top 10 on my board. It's not just me saying, oh, these are top 10 players. Like, I'm legitimately taking my top 10 right now. Pick number 17, the Packers. If you're sitting here, you have to take a wide receiver, right? Like, I know they're going to mess it up. I know. I cannot just sit here and allow them to just totally screw the pooch here. We're going to go Jack Smith-Njigba. Again, we haven't had many trades, but this might be one of them, to be honest. honestly, there's one dude who I'm dying to take here, though. So, via San Francisco, the Dolphins. I know people are going to try to clamor for Bijan. I'm going to say hold your horses on that. I really am dying to go after Trent Simpson here. I know. I really want to move. I want to do some more fun trades. But the fact is, honestly, like we've seen a lot more aggressiveness in the past, but a lot of these players are just really good fits for these teams, and I'm scared shitless. If I move back, Trent Simpson's not going to be there, right? And Trent Simpson's an absolute freak of nature, and this is a great addition into a Miami Dolphins defense where, honestly, the offense has been proven to where you can place in little pieces and do great. Offensive tackle, another concern of mine, but I might be going Darnell Wright in the second round. So, to me, I think this is a great fit for a great player. Pick 19. So, at this spot, you really should be potentially looking at someone like Anthony Richardson, Cameron Ward, but the fact is, I don't think that those guys are really going to work for the Buccaneers. You look at their style, I'd rather go and try Kyle Trask, Jimmy Garoppolo, and see how that works when you can actually just start building the rest of the team and then maybe be ready for Quinn Ewers, Drake May, somebody who's not going to be the number one overall pick. And it is true, you see how Leonard Fournette's able to kind of be a strong identity on this offense. Bijan Robinson just has that hype, and I got to give the man the respect where it's due. Like, he needs to be a top 25 pick because, again, he is a true special talent. So, got to show some love to Bijan right there. Pick number 20, the Baltimore Ravens are sitting here, and, corner, you have some crazy good talents on the board. And I might be going Christian Gonzalez here. So, again, another player PFF does not have in their top 100 when this was made. So, we'll give him that break. But to me, I also want to look at linebacker here because I don't know if Patrick Queen's really the answer. And I don't really know who's exactly next to him that's going to elevate the roster. And I think there are some really good corners you could potentially pick up in round 2. There's also really good corners you can pick up in free agency. We've seen these guys, and we've seen the Ravens be able to pick up 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, including Pookie Williams, DeMorian. So you have guys that you can pick up later on. You have a good knack for it. Linebacker, I think you just got to hit for it, man. Noah Sewell is a beast, and you got to be able to take a shot on him. Noah Sewell is the guy. Pick 21. So we're back. We're back with the Lions, who we got Will Anderson earlier. We're going to go Antonio Johnson now. Again, a lot of people are going to be clamoring for a QB. And again, this is a good spot for one. But the simple fact is, Antonio Johnson is a Swiss Army knife. You cannot pass on someone who's of that elite talent when you're sitting here at pick 21. Pick 22, the Colts need a QB as well. But again, this is not the class. I've been saying this. I do not know if there's one franchise-level quarterback coming out of this class. I'm not confident in it at all. And with that being said, we've also seen Matt Ryan do a lot better. We also see that there's a lot of really good tackles here, including a guy I have in my top 10 right here in Peter Skoronski. And again, they've been able to have guard-level players like Braden Smith move out to tackle and have success. To me, I think that's totally worth it. Let's go Peter Skoronski right here. Pick number 23 for the Chargers. Again, I'm not moving down. I know it's with trades, but I'm not moving down because Anton Harrison is here. You got to fill up that right tackle spot. Offensive line in the first. We've seen how Dallas has built a franchise through that in the past, and now we're building a true dynasty with an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert, where we don't want him getting his rib cartilage fractured every single year. Let's get Anton Harrison, who's played right tackle and left, and just plug it in and forget about it. Again, now you have Slater, you have Johnson, you have Harrison, you have Lindsley. You guys are going to be fine. This is going to be a top-tier offensive line. It's going to totally revamp your franchise. And again, I'm a thorough believer in building through the trenches. That's the way we go. Pick 24. So, again, we might go tackle here because Paris Johnson's a freak too. And we're pairing him up back with his buddy. Nicholas Petit-Frere. There we go. I was about to say it and it just slipped my mind. So Paris Johnson is going to move in. Tackle. And the Jets are sitting here and they're like, oh shit, we need offensive tackle. But there's nobody on the board. Now, Darnell Wright could have played himself into this level because he played very well versus Alabama. I don't think I'm ready to pull that trigger yet, personally. Not ready. And I have him as a second. I might be moving him up. I'm definitely moving him up this week, but I don't know if I'm ready. Not sure. Again, you have some really good safeties. I think someone like JL Skinner, who's an absolute freak, would be a great addition to this team. I think Brian Branch would be a freaky addition to this team. Now, we don't need to go that way because there's some really good linebackers, including one who's on everybody's top 3, now including mine, and is not here. His name's Drew Sanders. And to me, I'm more comfortable moving back and honestly saying, hey, if we don't get Drew Sanders, I'm fine. So I want to look at these quarterbacks that are still on the board because Anthony Richardson's here. I think some teams would be genuinely interested in moving up for that level of talent. And you have the Vikings here where, again, they kind of need corner. They could use a little bit of help here and there, but genuinely they don't have that many issues. And they could be looking for that big hitter. And that's a good spot to be in. Now, let's see some teams in the top 5. Like, we could see the Lions moving up for a QB. I think maybe that's just probably going to be something they trade with the Eagles for, right? Like, that's something you trade like one spot in case that happens. Because, again, I mean, I don't know if any of these quarterbacks are good enough. I don't know. And then again, honestly, none of these teams are desperate for a QB. You could, of course, see Washington try to move up and be able to get their guy. But honestly, given the fact that Washington might want that, I'm curious with the Giants because they don't really need anything. We're gonna move up. Yeah, we're gonna move up with the New York Giants. So let's see. Of course, they're not going to be allowing us to do this, so that's why they're gonna say, "Oh, okay," because it's not in the teams that are interested. We're gonna be moving up here, and I'm pretty sure at this point that it's a very minute difference, and it only requires like a 4th round pick to be able to move up in this range. I'm trying to remember the pick value, and we'll introduce that very soon. But we're going to introduce our 4th round pick into the equation, as well as a 5th next year. And of course, we're going to be forcing a trade. So that's going to be it. We're moving up with the Giants to be able to select Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. Again, people are going to say, hey, Alex, why do we need a quarterback when Daniel Jones is doing well? 1, money, man. It costs a lot of freaking money. But 2, we've seen Dable be able to transform somebody who has poorer mechanics, poorer decision-making like Josh Allen, and be able to elevate him to the Premier League, so to speak. And now you have that with Anthony Richardson. You see the talent. Like, his arm is the best in the class, by far. You don't see guys who can just zip it without any effort the way Anthony Richardson does. It's ridiculous. He could throw a 75-yard bomb easily. Like, this guy is incredible. And he's mobile. Like, he really is the perfect fit for Dable. And you don't need to start him right away because you've shown, hey, this is something that we could easily do. We've had very good success without somebody of Anthony Richardson's caliber hitting. So again, you don't need him to succeed immediately to be able to know that you're good. Pick 26, the Cowboys are on the board. Unfortunately, offensive line is not looking as nearly as good as I thought it would. And center could be a good position to target. I know Biadasz is not exactly a liability, but we could, of course, go not Eli Ricks, excuse me. He's not in the cornerback room, finally. Brian Branch here. So apparently they did update it because Brian Branch used to be in the corner realm regardless. So Brian Branch could be a really good target for the Cowboys here because, again, he's a very versatile DB who's just, you see the potential. He pops off. He really is one of those athletic freaks. Now, you could also go wide receiver here, and there's some very good ones on the board, including Xavier Hutchinson, who I think would be a great number 2. But the fact is, we can do that in the 2nd round. I think that's perfectly fine. So when analyzing who's on the board, you could go defensive interior here, get Gervon Dexter, and just say, or Brian Bresee. I mean, honestly, that'd be kind of freaky, and it would be something that Dallas Cowboys could do. And I like Brian Bresee a lot. I'm not ready to crown him like that just yet. I mean, you could go offensive tackle here with Darnell Wright. I'm not ready to do that. Olu Fashanu also in the equation, but you're not drafting 2 project tackles back-to-back years. So to me, I really just want to be able to potentially address either corner or an edge rusher. And honestly, you know what? We're going to do it. Christian Gonzalez. Guy deserves it. He should be a top 15 pick. Guy's incredible, but we're going to go Christian Gonzalez here. Another lockdown corner. Really good in man, really good in press. He's gotten better as the years gone on as well. He looked good versus Georgia, even though he got toasted here and there. Like, again, this kid's special. Pick number 27, the Jets are back, and we honestly might go Darnell Wright here. So I don't know which team I just screwed out of Darnell Wright earlier, I think it was the Dolphins, so RIP. But, I mean, again, if you play really well versus Alabama and you have left and right tackle versatility, I'm going to take you. So, Darnell Wright it is. Pick number 28. I've been doing this a lot, but Brian Bryce's here, so I can't go Gervon Dexter. You have to continue improving the defensive front. I will just say, I really love Tyler Smith. I don't know if it's that big of a drop-off from Bryce to Smith. So, again, I have my concerns about Bryce that early because he's on that loaded of a defensive front. But the fact is, Bryce should be a first-round pick. Pick number 29. This also needs to be probably a cornerback. And you have Cam Smith here, who I think is an amazing fit for the Vikings. So, definitely going to be targeting that. Kyrie Elam, if I'm not mistaken, kind of sealed the game there for the Bills, or at least he got one pick on Patrick Mahomes recently. He was my number 2 corner in the draft last year, so obviously not looking to upgrade in that realm, but had to shout him out. Offensive line definitely is something you could target here. Running back, definitely something, but if they really wanted to, they could have gotten Breece Hall last year, and that probably would have been a better move. But, again, they got Kyrie Elam, which I think is the best move that they could have made. Regardless, you could go after someone like Blake Corum here. I think that he deserves this first-round hype. He is incredible. Also, takes him away from the Eagles. But if we are sitting here, we are considering corner. We're considering safety as well. I want to look at the quarterbacks, and there is one quarterback that's not listed here, and Cameron Ward, who does deserve some respect. Tanner McKee certainly deserves some respect as well. I'm not thinking about it for the Bills. I'm thinking about it for a team trying to trade up, like the Lions, trying to get that 5th-year contract. And honestly, I'm not having the Eagles trade back because I know I'm probably going to take an edge rusher here with the Panthers. Because, again, I'm pretty sure that, even if you don't trade Brian Burns, you could, always upgrade in that position. Regardless, I'm heavily considering moving up here with the Lions because, again, I know it's going to piss off John. John's going to be coming at me. I can guarantee you. I'll put money down right now. If you guys look in the comment section, look a day after at least. I'll put money down on it. He's going to go off. He is. So, just giving you guys a heads up. Oh, finally! We have a team that could potentially trade for this pick. So, this trade is lopsided. Your team owner will veto it. No shit, Sherlock. So, I think I'm a big fan of potentially using a 4th-round pick to be able to move up a couple spots, but we'll toss in a future 6th as well. Maybe we'll toss in a future 5th. So we'll toss in a future 5th. The Lions are going to move up. Again, the Bills, I'm looking at a safety right now. We'll offer it. They'll accept it. Awesome. We don't even have to force it. Even better. But again, the Bills, they move back. They get some extra draft capital, test it out in a corner here and there. I was looking at J.L. Skinner the whole time. But for me, this is a quarterback. Now, Tanner McKee is a great fit. And honestly, it might be the guy I go with. Excellent locker room presence. He doesn't have Jack there in Stanford. So he's certainly able to make a lot of a little. He does have some concerns. But the fact is, Jared Goff's just never going to bring you to a Super Bowl. And this way, you can at least say, hey, we're giving it a shot. It's a 4th and the next year 5th to be able to move up for this. And you get a 5th-year contract. Who cares? It's house money right now. So that's what we're going to be going with. Again, we ended up targeting, where were the picks that we targeted for him? Antonio Johnson, as well as Will Anderson. So we've addressed the defense. Now we can address the offense. The Eagles are sitting here. And again, running back is a position I would love to target. But there's such good edge rushers here. And there's one that's not listed here, again, who deserves the respect. And that is Will McDonald. It's him or Andre Carter. You choose whichever one you want because the next pick is probably going to be the other one. So we're going to go with Will McDonald here because he is a freak. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys again for 5,000 subscribers. See you on the far side. Peace.